yesteryear. And with the date Chavtet Elul, that's 29th of Elul, marks the Hilul of a great Persian-born rabbi. His name was Rabbi Eliezer ben David, Zecher Tzadik Livracha. He was actually born, I believe, back in the English year 1933, at the start of October there, and passed away in the English year 2019, to be precise. I believe the 7th September the 29th, he was approximately 86 years of age at the time of passing. He was a founder, the Rosh Mosdot of Emet in Elad, very great institution over there. He would become the Mashgiach at one stage of the famous Yeshivat Pורת Yosef, which was a bastion of the Sephardic Yeshivot, respectively, in Jerusalem, in Israel. He established seminars, it's a seminar or Chaim to be precise. He was, later stage, also opened up Kehilot in Buenos Aires, I believe, in Argentina also, one of the great rabbis over there, especially of Iranian descent in the 1900s, respectively, and early 2000s. He was born, I believe, on Yud Aleph Tishrei in the year Hey Tafresh Tzadik Daled. And actually, that would be 1933, just after Yom Kippur. He was born in the city of Hamadan in Iran. And he came from a great family. His father's name was David, and his mother's name was Munar Sahimi. That was, I believe, the family name. It's actually interesting. His Persian name, his Iranian name itself, was Said. And I know, as being a Persian, Said is a very popular Persian name in of itself. And at the age of 18 years old, actually, I believe the family wanted him to study medicine in university. I think he maybe had a place in London that was confirmed, if I'm not mistaken. But he really, really yearned to learn Torah at the highest level in the land of Israel. So I think he went unequivocally to the land of Israel and gave up this potential, let's say, career in medicine. And what a decision it proved to be, because he ended up becoming one of the great rabbis in Israel since the formation, for sure, of the Medinat Israel from 1948. So over there, he would actually learn in the great yeshivot, including he would go to the Ponevezh Yeshiva. This is a bastion of the Lithuanian yeshivot in the whole of Israel, and a very, very prestigious yeshiva. And he was one of the main great learners over there at that stage in time. I think there was a yeshiva that opened up in Be'er Yaakov, famous yeshiva. And I think through the instruction of the famous Chazon Ish was also another great rabbi, to be precise. His name was Rabbi Abraham Yeshayahu Karelitz. He instructed him to actually go over there, and I think over there was other great rabbanim who he could very much converse and learn with, including the famous Rabbi Shlomo Valba, another great rabbi we've spoken about on various different occasions. And during that period, he saw that there was a problem with regards to, let's say, girls of Spanish descent, Northern African descent, with regards to seminaries, that many of them, after Kita Chet, this around 14, 15 years of age, would actually go out to work instead of continuing their, let's say, their Jewish studies, their Yahadut, Jewish studies, the Torah studies over there. So he sought out that these girls are, let's say, graduating from Kita Chet, they would go on to the next step of a further high school where they'll be able to learn more great Judaism at a very, very high level. And so he instituted, I believe, various different mosdot. I think the Beit Yaakov, for the girls, Sephardi girls, a seminary in of itself. And the seminaries are very popular for girls to go to, especially at the age of 15 in of itself. And he opened, I believe, the schooling system was called the Or HaChayim. And I think that was originally opened in Bnei Brak, in the famous city of Bnei Brak, very, very ultra-Orthodox Haredi city. And once again, I think the Chazon Ish gave him his full blessing within regards to it. In fact, the Hebrew date when the seminary was opened up was actually Tu B'Av, the 15th of Av, which is known as one of the most best days, bountiful days in the whole Jewish calendar. This was, I believe, in the year Tafshin Yud Gimel, if I'm not mistaken. He actually opened up the institutions over there. And it started off, I think, with a main office of itself. And afterwards, it would grow. And I think Rabbi Moshe Fardo, one of the great rabbis also of Israel, helped with regards to growing the Mosdot in of itself also. It's actually interesting. This would also be followed with regards to an Or HaEmet institutions, for example, which was opened obviously by the great Rabbi Eliezer ben David. It was obviously, this was connected to the Or HaChaim institution, and this really fulfilled many people's dreams over there. He continued, I think, at a later stage, to go to Buenos Aires in Argentina, and over there it was reported over he established and mentored the community of שובה Israel. I believe this was for 20 years. And in this specific institution in itself, many dozens of rabbis, if I'm not mistaken, came and flourished within regards to it. They came from regular great Torah students into great rabbis. And many of these great rabbanim would actually become the leaders of the South American community, various different places. Also, he also was very well traveled. He went to Mexico and he laid foundations over there for the Shubu Israel-Mexico community over there, which was a center for the Israelis who were living in the Mexican area in of itself. He also went to Chicago, to Illinois, many great places. He gathered large groups of, let's say, boys who had to flee from Iran at that point in time. I believe in Chicago in of itself there was an Iranian Jewish community over there. Obviously, this was during the reign of the wicked Khomeini, and he also resided in Chicago for a period of time, taught boys to grow within regards to Torah, to prosper within regards to Torah. I believe he established also the Hamet Boys School in Toronto, which I think in present day houses hundreds of students. He established and guided various Iranian communities, especially in New York and Los Angeles. Many of these families found a spiritual leader in the great rabbi in of itself, which is very, very interesting. I believe today, currently, these different communities have successfully continued to flow and grow from strength to strength, and especially the Hamet, let's say, community of Elad itself, grew at a zenith level, which very, very much was great, and he had a huge part with regards to the day-to-day running and the growth within the community. And it's actually very close to my heart because my wife's family actually live in Elad currently, so I saw firsthand the great work he's done over there, and the great institutions and the synagogue he had there is one of the most beautiful there. He wrote great different Torah works also on top of everything else. I believe, including the Haggadah Shel Pesach, this was a Or La'arba'a Eser, if I'm not mistaken. This was printed, I think, in the year Tafshin Nun Zayin. Then there was the Ele Moadei, I think the Chelek Rishon, the first volume itself, Ma'amarim Al Moadei Yisrael, featuring the festivals of Israel. I think this was printed in Jerusalem in the year Tafshin Nun Hey. Then there's the B'Taba'at HaMelech, which was on the Megillat Esther, one of the things that we read in Megillat Esther, naturally on the festival of Purim also. This was another great book. Then the Tselem Elokim, if I'm not mistaken, which was based on creation, the Briat HaOlam. This was, I believe, printed, I think, various different years, including Hey Taf Shin Nun Hey and Hey Taf Shin Pei Gimel, if I'm not mistaken. Then there was Derech HaShlemut, which was a book on Proverbs, on Mishlei. Also, that was printed in Elad in the Taf Shin Samach Tet. Then the Darachenu, which I was put into, I think, in one chelek, which was teaching us the ways we have to go to. That was also printed, I believe, in Elad. Then the Hashta Hacha Avadi. This was in Yanei Shibud V'Geula Kolel, which very, very great book. Then there was a V'Zot HaMenucha, which was on the matters within regards to Shabbat, Hilchot Shabbat, in of itself. Also, I believe, was printed in Jerusalem and in Elad. Then the Shchanti B'Tocham, also printed in Jerusalem in the year Tafshin Nun Gimel. The Matah HaElokim, which is a perush on the 10 plagues, Aseh Makot, respectively, which obviously relates over during the Haggadah. Very much so also. I think this was connection, and it's the printing of the Pורת Yosef institution. It's a famous yeshiva. I think at the time there was a branch in Kataman in Jerusalem, and I think it was also printed, if I'm not mistaken, in New York also, in America, and various different other places. And there was the Kuntras El Ginat Egoz Yeradati. This is a Perush ala Pasuk. El Ginat Egoz Yeradati. This specific Pasuk itself, there was explanations and expoundations. This was printed in Jerusalem. Then the Kuntras Hamachshava, which was, I think, based on the 10 Parakim, if I'm not mistaken, also, which was another great Torah colossal work in of itself. I think also maybe based on the Narim, Yamim Noraim also, respectively, which is very, very interesting. And many, many different great publications and great works in of itself. I also believe various different articles also, which he had a haskama with in regards to from Rabbi Yaakov Yisrael Kanievsky, the great, great rabbi. He actually published something called the Shuvu Lachem Lelohechem, which was Ma'amrit al Habayit Yudi. I think it was printed in Jerusalem in the year Tafshin Nun Gimel, which was, I think it was translated into English, this book, and also in Spanish. Then there was Siach HaShira. This is on the Shir HaShirim, the, let's say, the 8 chapters with regards to the Song of Songs, composed by King Solomon, the greatest, wisest of men of all time. And then there was a Shir, Harab Eliezer ben David, also very interesting enough. And I think he wrote a pamphlet or a publication with regards to Purim, also about erasing the name of Amalek, destroying Amalek in of itself. So he was really one of the great rabbis of his time. His wife's name was Sarah Tabul, I believe. He very, very interesting. I believe he left 9 descendants, if I'm not mistaken, 9 children. One of his chatanim, I believe, one of his son-in-laws includes Harab Michael Peretz, if I'm not mistaken. Also really, really great. Among his Talmidim was Rabbi Eliezer Abu Chatzer, a great, great rabbi, and Rabbi Yitzchak Yosef, also who's just actually, it's interesting, I'm recording this just at a time period when there was elections for the next chief rabbi. So he was a previous chief rabbi of the land of Israel, including among his rabbanim was Rabbi Avram Shehu Karelitz, we mentioned before, the great rabbi, Rabbi Shlomo Valba also, and Rabbi Yosef Shlomo Kahanaman, who I believe happened to be the Rosh Yeshiva of the famous Ponevezh Yeshiva, which we've mentioned about earlier on in this video over here. So please, friends, don't forget to light candles in his memory. Chavtet Elul marks his Elul. He passed away. He was around the age of 86 years old. He was one of the great Persian rabbis, especially living in Israel during the 1900s and early 2000s, respectively. Please, friends, join and subscribe to the channel. We've covered more than 420 great rabbis of yesteryear. We're a community here. Please like the video, share them, and write me a comment also. Wishing you all a great day. Take care, and Shana Tova Metuka.